Here's Marco Rubio when being asked about what the justification is for having deported this Turkish PhD student whose crime is writing an op-ed. Here's how he, quote unquote, responded.
Mr. Secretary, a Turkish student in Boston was detained and handcuffed on the street by plainclothes agents. A year ago, she wrote an opinion piece about the Gaza war. Could you help us understand what the specific action she took led to her visa being revoked?
Yeah,
and what was your State Department's role in that process?
We revoked her visa. It's an F1 visa, I believe. We revoked it, and here's why. And I'll say it again. I said it everywhere. Let me be abundantly clear, okay? If you go apply for a visa right now, anywhere in the world, let me just send this message out. If you apply for a visa to enter the United States and be a student, and you tell us that the reason why you're coming to the United States is not just because you want to write op-eds, but because you want to participate in movements that are involved in doing things like vandalizing universities, harassing students, taking over buildings, creating a ruckus, we're not going to give you a visa. If you lie to us and get a visa and then enter the United States and with that visa participate in that sort of activity, we're going to take away your visa.
She didn't do any of that. This is a completely deceitful statement designed to mask what they're actually doing. They promised mass deportations of people in the country illegally. They're not giving that to you. Joe Biden deported more people in these 2 months of last year than Donald Trump did. Obama deported way more. The immigration groups called Obama the deporter-in-chief because of how many people he deported. Now, they have closed the border almost entirely. It's like down 94%. And sometimes the deportation count comes from deporting people when they're detained at the border. But there's nothing even remotely like mass deportations taking place of people in the United States illegally. Their priority is not even people in the United States illegally. Their priority is people who are in the United States legally who committed the ultimate crime of criticizing Israel. And they're lying to justify it. Everybody knows she didn't go and vandalize anything. No one suggests that she did anything illegal, anything aggressive, anything violent. The only reason she ended up on these lists from these pro-Israel groups that are dictating to the U.S. government who can and cannot stay in the United States is because she wrote this op-ed. And I want to show you that op-ed in a second, just to let you decide if you think it's anything radical, let alone remotely pro-Hamas or glorifying terrorism, other than unless you think that criticizing Israel or opposing Israel is inherently to be pro-terrorist, which is what a lot of people think. They just don't usually admit it. And that's why Marco Rubio has to fabricate a bunch of claims that he knows isn't true about her when her only crime was writing this op-ed. Here's the rest of him.
And once you've lost your visa, you're no longer legally in the United States, and we have a right, like every country in the world has a right, to remove you from our country. So it's just that simple. I think it's crazy. I think it's stupid for any country in the world to welcome people into their country that are going to go to your universities as visitors. They're visitors. And say, I'm going to your universities to start a riot. I'm going to your universities to take over a library and harass people. I don't care what movement you're involved in. Why would any country in the world allow people to come and disrupt? Now, we gave you a visa to come and study and get a degree, not to become a social activist that tears up our university campuses. And if we've given you a visa and then you decide to do that, we're going to take it away. I encourage every country to do that, by the way, because I think it's crazy to invite students into your country that are coming onto your campus and destabilizing it. We're just not going to have it. So we'll revoke your visa, and once your visa is revoked, you're illegally in the country. And
By the way, not only is that a complete fabrication for this Turkish PhD student at Tufts, it's also a complete fabrication of what happened to Mahmoud Khalil, the first person in the United States legally who was snatched up under this program. He was in the U.S. legally. And he didn't vandalize any buildings. He didn't occupy any buildings. He didn't attack anybody. And also, I just want to say, this whole framework of, oh, this is happening because the people lied on their visa applications. If you apply for a student visa in 2022 or 2023 before October 7th, you're not prescient. You can't see the future. You don't know that the Israelis are going to destroy Gaza and all of civilian life in Gaza in a way that pretty much every human rights group in the world has said has been unparalleled and unseen in decades. They're not professional protesters. They rose up and protested like a lot of people did in response to what the Israelis were doing in Gaza, something they couldn't have known at the time they applied for their visa. But there is nothing on the visa application that says, are you a critic of Israel? Do you oppose Israel? Do you believe in the Palestinian cause? Because, of course, that is well within the realm of free speech. Here's the rest of Marco Rubio.
You have to leave. Every country in the world has a right to decide who comes in as a visitor and who doesn't. If you invite me into your home because you say, I want to come to your house for dinner, and I go to your house and I start putting mud on your couch and spray painting your kitchen, I bet you're going to kick me out. Well, we're going to do the same thing if you come into the United States as a visitor and create a ruckus for us. We don't want it. We don't want it in our country. Go back and do it in your country. But you're not going to do it in our country. Sure. Just tell me your follow-up, and I'll tell everyone. Depending on your question, I'll answer it or not.
All right, I now invite our Guyanese representative.
Can I get her follow-up real quick? Go ahead.
Could you confirm, there's no reporting that 300 visas, state departments revoked 300?
Maybe more. It might be more than 300 at this point. We do it every day. Every time I find one of these lunatics, I take away their visa.
You're saying it could be more than 300
Sure,
visas?
I hope. At some point, I hope we run out because we've gotten rid of all of them. But we're looking every day.
Okay, like I said, these are all false claims. False claims. Some of the leading protesters at Columbia who occupied Hamilton Hall were American Jewish students who are now expelled because the Trump administration required it. So congratulations on protecting American Jews by getting them expelled from college for protesting. Fantastic. Jews all over are very grateful. But these are not the people who have been doing this, the people they're targeting, and they're prioritizing it over what they promised people in the campaign that people voted for them on the basis of not removing legal immigrants who are Israel critics, but removing people and mass deporting people who are in the country illegally. They're not doing that. This is their priority, to protect Israel from criticism and activism. Thanks for watching this clip from System Update, our live show that airs every Monday through Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern, exclusively on Rumble. You can catch the full nightly shows live or view the backlog of episodes for free on our Rumble page. You can also find full episodes the morning after they air across all major podcasting platforms, including Spotify and Apple. All the information you need is linked below. We hope to see you there.